Good Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending upon where you are in the city. Welcome to The Answer of the Lips. The topic of this show is from the Halls of Justice, and we have with us a very special guest star. We have the supervising judge, Marjorie Steinberg, and we also have with us two fine certified family law specialists. I had to call in some high-powered help to interview this very special guest star. And the way we open up with The Answer of the Lips, I want to thank everyone for being here today, and most of all, I just thank God for the opportunity to sit with this panel of fine guests. So I'm going to just give you a brief description once again, and then I'm going to turn it over to these two gentlemen that I have with me in the studio. And once again, I thank you for being here on a Saturday, and this is from the Halls of Justice. Evan is a certified family law specialist. He's in Beverly Hills, and if you would be so kind, Mr. Sussman, tell me a little bit about your background.
Good morning, Wanda. Thank you. Originally, I got my undergraduate degree from the University of from the University of Southern California, USC, and I then went on to the University of Pacific McGeorge School of Law in Sacramento. After I did that, I went into solo practice. Ultimately, I moved my office to Beverly Hills, took the certified specialist exam, became a certified specialist, and am on the executive committee of both the Beverly Hills Bar Association and the Los Angeles County Bar section for the family law sections.
Absolutely. Aren't you now the vice chair?
Starting the next year, I'm going to be vice chair of the Beverly Hills Bar Family Law section.
Wow.
So.
You are busy. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you very much, Wanda. I appreciate it.
Now, my next co-host who's going to help me is Ron Saponchek. He has a wonderful practice in Woodland Hills. He's also my rock. I consider him like my father. He has taught me so much about family law and collaborative law. He is a member of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers. This is an association that you cannot join. You have to be invited. Once again, he's a certified family law specialist. And because he is so knowledgeable in everything, I'm going to have him introduce my wonderful guest star, who I am just humbled to have in the studio. So if you'd be so kind.
Thank you, Wanda. We're indeed fortunate to have Judge Marjorie Steinberg, who supervises what many regard as the largest, most active family law court in the world. Los Angeles County is a huge county with some 64 different cities within it. And Judge, tell us a little bit about the size of the courthouse, the number of the buildings, the number of judges, and the family law department in particular.
Well, Los Angeles County is the largest trial court in the world. Our Superior Court is the largest trial court anywhere. We have over 500 bench officers in many locations. I can't even count them all because I only have to worry about 12. And that's where we have the family law courts, from Lancaster to Pomona to Norwalk, downtown, Santa Monica, all over the county. And there are 47 of us, 47 judges and commissioners in family law. But it's not just the judges and commissioners that make up our department. As Ron and Evan both know, we have family court services, lots of mental health professionals that are part of the court and part of our family law department. So it's a pretty big operation. How
did you come into the law, Judge? Was this your first idea from early childhood that you wanted to be a lawyer and eventually a judge?
Oh, no. I never knew a lawyer. I never knew a judge. Well, I met a judge when I had a traffic accident when I was 16. Had to go into court and have my mother tell the judge that I needed my driver's license because she didn't have the time to drive me to all my activities, and he gave it back to me. But I was going to be an English professor, and I have a master's in teaching English, and I taught English for many years a few years in a high school in Chicago. But at some point, we were going to move to Los Angeles, and so I had to think about, do I want to start new as a teacher, or do I want to do something else? And that's when I applied to UCLA Law School, and the rest is history.
What attracted you to the law?
Well, my husband was going into law. He was a law student, and as I watched him study and do whatever, I thought, that's kind of interesting. But more than that, he thought that I should be in the law. So I said, I'm not sure I'm cut out for that. He said, oh, yeah, you are. And he said, you're smart. So he made me a bet that if I got a certain grade on the LSAT, I'd apply to UCLA.
Oh,
if I didn't, I was off the hook and I could go do whatever, figure it out when we got there. So he won. He won, I won.
Win-win.
Win-win.
You don't start out as a judge. That's not how you start a legal career. How did your legal career begin?
I began in 1975 at a wonderful firm called Tuttle & Taylor doing business law, and I practiced there until I became a judge in 2001. It was pretty much my career path was with a business law firm.
Now, I've heard it said that some judges consider the family law appointment or assignment as something akin to the bottom of the barrel. It's not usually one of the more attractive assignments. How was that for you when you came out of a civil litigation experiential career into the judiciary? You must have sat as a judge in a variety of departments.
No, I didn't. I sat in criminal for about 2 months. 2 months. And then I came into family law because I was recruited by the then supervising judge, Aviva Bob, who was very good about going out and getting all of her friends
She's wonderful.
into family law. So it was a steep learning curve. I had taken community property at UCLA in 1974. So in 2002, when I started a family law assignment, I had a lot to learn because that's the only background I had. But the court provides a great deal of education, a great deal. And I'd already spent a week at a crash course in family law, and I got a lot of help.
But family law department, it's not like the other departments. It's very different. Tell us a little bit about some of the differences that you observed going into the family law department as a hearing officer.
Well, family law is different in so many respects. It's hard to know where to start. It has a high emotional content. And that's true other places in other courts, but not the same, not quite the same. And the litigants are often on very bad behavior as opposed to criminal law, where the folks who appear before you, often in orange jumpsuits, are on their best behavior. They've figured that part out. So they're good in court, even though they may be bad outside court. The people we see are often pretty bad in court, even though they're probably pretty good people out of court. So they're not on their best behavior. And we don't have the resources that I think the civil courtrooms have to cope with some of this. So we're much busier than other courtrooms in the civil courthouse, I believe. And that's a big difference.
What are the aspects or elements to the current assignment that you have that you feel especially proud of?
Oh, a supervising judge?
Yes.
You know, I'm too new at this job to be proud of much of anything. I'm standing on the shoulders of some people who've done an awful lot of good work. So I'm proud of having, at this point, 7 months into my assignment, having pretty much gotten on top of what the job entails and met all the constituencies and kind of made some contacts with all the groups out there who care about what's going on in our court, and there are many of them. So I've done that, and I've had a chance to sort of figure out all the things that our court does. We do a lot of things. We do DV, we do parentage, we do dissolutions, we divide up property, we deal with children, we deal with child support, we deal with criminal prosecutions of child support, people who don't pay. We deal with a lot of things. I'm on top of that now, but I think that's my biggest accomplishment so far.
No.
What would you say has been your greatest insight in terms of once you've started as supervising judge, in terms of that insight in terms of making your position go further than, let's say, your predecessor?
I've come to see, and this is not my original insight, several of my colleagues have helped me see this, that what we do in family law is not just a matter of dividing up property and dealing with, an occasional family. what we do impacts public health throughout the county of Los Angeles. The family law courts can